Vaillant boiler service. My name's Alan Hart, and in today's video I'm going to show you a Vaillant boiler service. I'm also going to show you why you should have the boiler serviced. Also going to show you a boiler that's set on fire, the seals leaked. So I'm going to show you that as well. Got a few seals, so for different boilers for servicing, just to make sure that if you go to a job and you're going to do a boiler service, and check the seals and make sure it's safe, really. Yeah, have a look in installation instructions and see how often them seals need to be changed. Yeah, let's go and have a look at these boilers now. These pictures have been sent in from subscribers, but this is a Vaillant Combi boiler, and if we have a look inside here, you can see that it's all melted inside, and what's happened is the burner seal has failed. Vaillant did have a recall on the burner seal quite a long time ago, so it's very, very important that you get your boiler serviced, and also the seal gets checked to make sure that it's safe. You see that it's also melted the flue, inner flue on that one. I'm sure you'll agree that them pictures are absolutely shocking, and what that tells you is all boilers, any boiler, so I've seen this happen with lots of boilers. I've seen it happen with Worcesters, again seals failing. I've seen it with Baxi, again seals failing. Most brands, if the boiler's not serviced, then you need to service the boiler and check the seals on a service, and there's also other things you need to do as well. But what I'll do now, I'll show you this Vaillant boiler that we've done a service on. Before you remove a case on a boiler, you must be gas safe registered or competent to do so, and also you need to do your electrical safe isolation checks. Also check the fuse. You also need to go outside and inspect the flue. Make sure it's the right flue. Make sure it's not covered over with any leaves or damaged. If it needs a terminal guard, make sure it's got a terminal guard. So we've done our electrical checks, and now we're going to remove the case. So we've removed the case, and now we're going to take out the bolts, disconnect the gas and the leads, and we're going to take the burner out. And when we look inside, we can see it definitely needed a full service. So we're going to give it a full service, clean it out, also change the electrodes on this one. Got some new seals for this. Also got new electrodes as well. The old ones are bent and a bit of a mess. You can see there, they're all bent. It were popping with this. It wasn't always starting. So hence the reason put some new electrodes in, new seals on. Also give the heat exchanger a good clean out. So I've just got some, this little cleaner that I've got there, it's actually a Vaillant one, is that? I got it on Vaillant training course. I've also hoovered it all out to try and get as much of the muck out as possible, and then wash some water through, and then obviously clean the condensate trap out afterwards. So we'll give that a real good strip down, real good clean out, washed it all through, changed electrodes, changed seals, changed leads as well, I think, on that one. Yeah, I've got some more videos now. I've got some where I've stripped a Vaillant down, and what I'm going to do is I'll show you the components. I'll show you the graphite seal as well that needs to be changed. I've also got some dodgy flues as well, so I'd like it if you could put some comments, add some comments on well, on any video really. But yeah, let's go and have a look at these. So just before I take this case off here, we can see with this the graphite seal has been installed. So many years ago, maybe 10 years or so, Vaillant had a big problem with the seals on these boilers, and the seal's leaked, and sometimes they set the inside of the boiler on fire in very rare occurrences. So with these old ones, just make sure that it's had the seals changed, and to be honest, you should have changed seals anyway if you're going to disturb the burner on these now anyway. So that's just something to look out for. So if we was going to take the burner door off this for a service, we just need to take off this silencer here and then disconnect all the wires off this, and obviously turn your gas off and disconnect your gas so you can pull all this burner out in one. Very easy to do. So there's just one screw here to get the silencer, take the silencer off. So we'll do that now. So once you've taken the screw out of the silencer can just lift forward and just pull off. Very easy. So we've got a 10mm socket just to slacken these nuts off on this a bit. And then I normally disconnect it from here, just so it's easier just to lift out and just totally take it out of the way. So that's inside your heat exchanger. So that's the burner, and this is the seal I was talking about earlier, just there. So you need to make sure that's been changed. So when we look at this, you've got your spark electrodes there, and then you've got your fan there. So that all comes out as one unit. So we've got condensate trap on back on this one, and to clean that out, we just undo that underneath there, and just hope that nobody's put a pipe there so that you can't get it out. That's your condensate trap. So obviously you'd then put all that back together. There's a few other checks that you'd be doing. You'd be checking it with flue gas analyzer to make sure it's safe, put it into high and low, and make sure all readings are correct. Also, you'd need to be pumping up the expansion vessel on the boiler. So drain the water out of the boiler and repressurize the expansion vessel. We also need to gas rate it, make sure it's all safe. I think that's about it. What I'll do now is I'll show you, if you've got any questions on that, please ask in comments below. But what I'll do now is I'll show you a few flues and some other dodgy boilers and stuff. This is a Vaillant flue, and as you can see, it's been leaking. If you have a look at that that collar at the top, and it's dripping onto the top of the boiler, so it's obviously not being installed correctly. And when we have a look at the rest of the flue, we can see it's got no clips on, so the flue has definitely not been installed correctly. So it's very important when you go to any boiler service to check all this and make sure it's all safe. We've got another Vaillant boiler here, and again the flue is leaking and the flue hasn't been installed correctly. And if we have a look, it's not been sealed there, but if you have a look here, it's all rotten. You can just put your screwdriver straight through. It's all rotted away. No clips on it. It's just all loose. You see, it's not a good install at all. And then when you look on top of the boiler, you can see that it's all been leaking onto the top of the boiler, and outside's not sealed as well. Some really bad installs there. rotten flues, badly installed flues, and we're seeing more and more of this these days. So what I'd say is, please have your boiler serviced, have it serviced by somebody who's gas safe registered. Also, do not DIY with gas, just not worth it. I've had a little request to put a load of Vaillant clips together, so what I'm going to do is, I've got another Vaillant video that I did quite a while ago, and I'm going to add that onto end of here, and then at least all Vaillant clips are together. Yeah, thanks for watching. My name's Alan Hart, and today's video is a request. So I did my video yesterday with the Vaillant boiler where I stripped it down, and I was asked if I could strip this Vaillant boiler down here. So that's what I'm going to do. So we'll strip this down, and it's just going to be a quick run through this really. I've not got a lot of time today because I'm going out with kids in a bit. But first of all, we've got a screw just under here to take the case off. And as always, if you're going to take a case off a boiler, you must be gas safe registered. So anybody who works on gas boilers must be gas safe registered. So these videos are designed for if you've just qualified and you haven't seen inside some of these boilers, then these are what these videos are aimed at you really. And what I would say to you is as well is try and go on as many of the manufacturers' training days as you can. So most of the manufacturers will give you free training days. Now them training days are a bit sales sort of training, but they do tell you all about the boilers, and a lot of time they'll tell you about the faults with boilers. So Ideal do good training, Baxi does really good training. All the manufacturers really, Viessmann, Vaillant, go on the training courses, they're free, and they will really give you that help and understanding of the boilers. So let's have a look at this now, and we'll take the case off. Now bearing in mind this is an old boiler, so the condition of this boiler inside is not very good, but it's a demo video just to show you how you would strip it down. So as I say, screwdriver underneath here, so you can use a flathead or you can use a posi on these, and then what it's got is you undo that screw under there, and then it's got two clips just here what you just push up, and then case just lifts off. I'll show you that now. So you just see there we've just got us screw slot, we just undo that screw there, and then it's also got two physical clips, one there and one on that side. So just here and here, and then all you do, push them clips up, and then the front cover will come off. Now as I say with this boiler, it's an old boiler, the clips and bits and bats inside are damaged, so the flap is just going to fall down. So just before I take this case off here, we can see with this the graphite seal has been installed. So many years ago, maybe 10 years or so, Vaillant had a big problem with the seals on these boilers, and the seals leaked, and sometimes they set the inside of the boiler on fire in very rare occurrences. So with these old ones, just make sure that it's had the seals changed, and to be honest, you should have changed seals anyway if you're going to disturb the burner on these now anyway. So that's just something to look out for. So if we have a look inside this, we've got the heat exchanger, which is a stainless steel heat exchanger. That's his burner body. We've got his fan. We've got his pump. We've got his plate heat exchanger there. PRV up front there as well. Expansion vessel, easy to get to. So if we need to top up expansion vessel, we can just do that on there. So that's easy. This had a little problem with the flow seals. So I don't know if you can see there, but the fluid been leaking on this one. So if we're going to take out this plate heat exchanger on this, obviously this boiler's totally drained down, so there's no water in it, so you'd have to isolate the boiler, and you've just got 4 screws. So there's one there, don't know if you can see that, one there, and then same on this side, just there and there, and then this will just easily just pull out then. So as boilers go, these are very easy to work on. You see how easy that plate comes out. You don't have to take anything else out in the boiler, and you can just easily get the plate out. So then obviously if you're going to put a new plate in this, or if you've cleaned this plate out, you would check these seals in here. So these seals here, and always try and put new seals in if you can. So if we was going to take the burner door off this for a service, we just need to take off this silencer here and then disconnect all the wires off this, and obviously turn your gas off and disconnect your gas so you can pull all this burner out in one. Very, very easy to do. So there's just one screw here to get the silencer, take the silencer off. So we'll do that now. So once you've taken the screw out of the silencer can just lift forward and just pull off. Very easy. I'm just going to put that screw back in there just so we don't lose the screw. So we've got a 10mm socket just to slacken these nuts off on this a bit. And then I normally disconnect it from here just so it's easier just to lift out and just totally take it out where. So that's inside your heat exchanger. So that's the burner, and this is the seal I was talking about earlier, just there. So you need to make sure that's been changed. So when we look at this, you've got your spark electrodes there, and then you've got your fan there. So that all comes out as one unit. So if you have any problems with circulation in these boilers, it might be worth just checking these rubber hoses in here. They sometimes block up. I believe Vaillant do a replacement kit, and I think you can change these to copper. I'm not sure. I've never actually done one myself, but I do believe you can get a copper replacement for that. So we've got auto air vent just here. If you need to change that, there's just a clip there. So it's a bit hard, but just pull that clip forward, and then you can just pull this out. So you just get grips on this, waggle it out about a bit, and then you can just get that out of there. So that's your auto air vent, just a backup pump there. So I might as well just have a quick look inside this hose while we're doing this. tend to block up a bit on hoses. Don't know if you can see in there, quite a lot of muck in that. So if you needed to remove the expansion vessel on this, there's just a nut at the bottom, on the bottom of the expansion vessel, and then there's just some screws at the top up here, and then that bracket there will just come forward and you can just pull that out if you needed to change it. Most of the parts in this boiler are very easy to work on and service. It's easy to strip down and clean, as you can see. And all in all, they're a very good boiler. They were really good in the time. Obviously, it's an old boiler now. This is 12, 14 year old, something like that, and it's done well. I know it looks a bit tired now, but it's an old boiler that hasn't been looked after very well in that time. So you can't blame the boiler for that. This video's been a bit rushed, as I say. I've got to go out. So if you've got any questions, please add them in comments below, and thank you for taking the time to watch these videos. Thank you.